Hello and welcome to On the Other Hoof. A pretty good weekend of action coming up with the good handicaps at Ascot tomorrow afternoon, including the Ladbroke hurdle won in the past, the likes of Willow Saviour, who beat Putty Zig just a couple of years ago. That form has worked out okay. A very wide open race this time around as well. Winner Massigo and Jolly's cracked it currently heading the market. We'll be talking about that a little bit later on. Also, we have Grade 1 action with the Long Walk hurdle, where Rev de Savola looks to go for 4 straight wins in the race, taking over the crown from Big Bucks. Plenty of action to cover. 6 races on Channel 4 tomorrow afternoon. But first, no Adam Webb this week, but it's a welcome back from Hong Kong to the slightly ill Callum Liddell.
Yeah, worse for wear.
How are you except for ill?
I'm not great, to be honest.
You may notice that he sounds a little bit hoarse.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
Yeah,
But
not feeling great.
we have had one question in from, I think it was Tony Deacon, saying, was there a picture of you without without a arm around a gun?
No, and I'm proud to say there wasn't.
Well, so welcome back to you.
Thanks.
How was Hong Kong?
Yeah, just ridiculously good. Amazing hospitality. Oh, I said amazing. I'm sorry. Can't say amazing.
Why not?
People just don't like people saying amazing.
No, you can't say any positive words.
Exactly. But no, it was once in a lifetime. Would recommend anyone to go out there because it's just such a brilliant place, and the racing was high class. So yeah, an unforgettable week.
Best race course you went to out there?
What, out of the two, or
well, did you visit any others?
No, I'd say I love Happy Valley. It's just something special about Happy Valley.
What makes you happy?
That's the hipster selection. Mainstream, I go for Shartin's pretty good, to be fair, but both of them are just immaculate race courses. They don't actually treat their customers out there.
Something English race course could learn a little bit.
Yeah, we won't go there
in that regard. We haven't done a show for a couple of weeks. Last week we had a few technical hitches, so we couldn't physically do a show last week. So apologies for that. The last one we did do was just myself and Adam Webb. It was Tingle Creek Day, Beachy Chase, and Grand Sefton happening at Aintree. Had a fairly good week as well. I'm not going to blow my own whistle, but Simply a Legend was a winning nap on that front. Actually, you were on as well for Tingle Creek.
Was I?
No.
No, I wasn't.
No, you weren't. I think we had a nap though. But no, we didn't do too badly last time in the Tingle Creek. But just myself and Callum Liddell. This week, I think it's the first time we've ever done a show just us two.
No, that's a lie.
Is it a lie?
Yeah,
we absolutely bossed it that day. We had a Kempton and Lingfield.
Yeah, and we're going to boss it today.
Yeah, we're going to boss it today. But do get your tweets in, as always, to @OnTheOtherHoof on Twitter. Any questions, fancies you may have for the upcoming weekend of racing, we'll answer them at the end of the show. But first, as mentioned, we have 6 races to cover, courtesy of Ascot and Haydock at 4 tomorrow. Starting with the 150 at Ascot, the BGC Partners Handicap Chase over 2 miles, 2 furlongs, and 175 yards. Just the 10 runners going to boast for this event. A wide open event though, with plenty of worthwhile form recently anyway.
Yeah, I think the right horses are at the head of the betting personally. Mon Successor, who I think is a bit of a dog essentially. Maybe he's just a horse that, he's only 4 and I think he might just need a bit of growing to do, because the last 2 times he's come there, well, actually at Wetherby as well, he's looked like the winner and he's come out second best on every occasion. In particular, last time he trundled all over the eventual winner and didn't get the job done. So I'd have no qualms taking him on. I do like the Vatican actually. Of course, I think it's just taken a little bit of time to come to herself this year. I think the slight drop back in trip, well, it's not a slight drop back in trip, it's a fairly significant drop back in trip. I think will really suit her. I don't think, I thought she saw out. It's really testing that day, so I think she'll see out that sort of trip in time. But I think for now, 2 mile 2 on soft ground like this, or I don't know if is it that soft at Ascot?
Not really.
It's officially soft, isn't it? And
it's soft, good to soft in places.
I didn't really think it was that testing today.
I agree with that.
So yeah, I think tomorrow's perfect for her. And I think she's the one to be on. Venetia Williams also obviously interesting, has some good form before clearly what seems to have been an injury. Hard to know what to expect with that one. Ultra Gold, it's a bit of a quick turnaround. I thought it was travelling really nicely the other day actually at Cheltenham when falling. I think it's quite a tough turnaround, to be honest. I think Big Casino could be quite interesting at a price. again, was travelling pretty well in the same race behind Le Vatican. I think the drop back in triple suit that. So yeah, I think if I put one for a price, I'll go for Big Casino. But I think Le Vatican's the one to beat.
Yeah, I think we are going to agree on the main selection with Le Vatican. I think she ran a fantastic race last time, even in a competitive race at Cheltenham the time before that, over 2 miles. She was running on fairly nicely. A bit of a drastic step up in trim last time out. She was on the wrong part of the track as well, on the far side at Newbury. Softer ground on that occasion as well, and really Lemole just got away along with Alumomo. So that's no real disgrace for Le Vatican, especially dropping back down in trip. And one of the main things to note that David Pipeyard are back in a bit better form than they were at that point. So I think 5-1 could be a fair enough price about Le Vatican. As for bigger price runners, there's 2 that I've really got my eyes on for a small each way, but nothing huge. But Malibu Sun did well to push Vision Deschamps so close last time out at Sandown. Vision Deschamps was just the horse, a very well handicapped individual, and he was on song on that occasion. Also, when the Gary Moore yard were having winners left, right, and centre at Sandown on that weekend, Jamie Moore took the ride on that occasion. He's gone up £5 Malibu Sun for being beaten a short head, which could be fairly harsh, but those 2 were a fair way clear of the rest. It could just be form worth sticking with for the next couple of runs. So Malibu Sun, probably one of the one of the pace angles in this race. I wouldn't think would be too far away. And Dartford Warbler's been running on soft ground, which is ground that he absolutely hates, really. He wants much firmer ground. He's a half-brother to Rock on Ruby as well. I still have no doubts in my mind he's better than a 122 rated horse. He's still an 8-year-old, so there could well be a bit more improvement still to come in him back on better ground, which these days he so scarcely gets. And Sue Smith continues to be in good form, especially with Danny Cook in the saddle as well. He's been riding plenty of winners since his comeback from a ban not too long ago. But Le Vatican is, we're both in agreement for that. And also Adam Webb. Unfortunately for us two, Adam has napped Le Vatican today, so we'll be getting more on that a little bit later on.
We've got the whole field covered, really. So.
Yeah, pretty much. If we don't get the winner of the first, then we're just giving up the rest of it.
Yeah.
But Le Vatican is a fairly confident selection, I'd say, for myself.
Yeah, I think she's the most likely winner, but I do quite like the Casino, of course.
Well, moving back up to Haydock for the first of 2 visits next for the 2:05. The nationwide vehicle contracts.co.uk handicap hurdle over 2 miles, 2 furlongs, and 191 yards. It's going to be very testing at Haydock tomorrow. It's heavy ground as opposed to the soft, good to soft in places down at Ascot. A wide open race, but only 7 runners to get through.
Yeah, 3 Faces West appeals by far the most here. Mainly, I mean, there's plenty of angles here. I mean, it was a horse that won 3 times with Donald McCain last year. And it's now with Philip Hobbs, which is in so many regards a positive. Yeah, he could be very well handicapped, making his handicap debut in this sphere. I think he probably is going to need further in time. He's a 3 mile, he's obviously a point winner in Ireland. So yeah, I think he's got a very, very good chance tomorrow. It's not a race I want to dwell on for a long time, but Mondragon is another horse that could be pretty well treated. It could be something else down the pipeline for that horse. I don't know, but I think 3 Faces West is probably the horse to be on tomorrow. That mark of 130, I think, could be pretty lenient.
I've been trying to get away from it, but I'm inclined to agree with 3 Faces West.
It's not really a bet,
no,
I don't think, but I think it'll win.
He's a winner in a point-to-point on bottomless grounds as well, so everything seems to be pointing in the direction of 3 Faces West. The only real thing you could say against it may be that on this ground, off an absence of 276 days, that may not be ideal.
Yeah,
but
the same with the second favourite, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It's a tricky enough race that it's probably not a betting contest, as you mentioned, but 3 Faces West should take a fair deal of beating in that. Not every race we want to dwell on all that much. We're back to Ascot for our next race, which is the 2:25. That is the JLT Long Walk Hurdle, a grade 1 over 3 miles and 97 yards. We have got different horses ahead of the market with Safir Daru, who for want of a better term, we'll say failed in the Hennessy. Thistlecrack was a good winner last time at the Hennessy meeting as well. He seems to be going very much in the right direction. A good 7-year-old for the Colin Tizard yard. But the horse to focus on first, I think, it's only right to be, is Red de Savola, who's going for his 4th straight win in the race after beating Zarkanda last year.
Yeah, I think it's got to be the value bet, isn't it, Red de Savola? I mean, just considering he's such a good horse at this meeting in this race, you know, I'm kind of surprised he is the price he is. You know, I don't think his run in Auteuil last time was all that bad. He wasn't beaten that far. He was probably running below form strictly. He wasn't, you know, he pushed Safir Daru very close in the cleave back in January. and I'd expect him to do similar tomorrow. Whereas the prices probably don't reflect that. No, I was really impressed with Thistlecrack last time. I don't think it's a race that did fall apart without any doubt, but he did it really well. I'm disappointed Kilcooley's not in this actually, because I thought this was a perfect race for him. But yeah, if there's a price discrepancy between the three, it has to be Rev de Civola for me. I mean, the horse going for his 4th win in the race. That seems, there's not enough evidence there to suggest he isn't at least the force of old. So yeah, if I had a bet in the race, it would be Rev de Civola. The horse I think will win it. I don't know. It's really tight between Thistlecrack and Saphir. I'm really struggling to split those two. Saphir, I think probably has to improve again, potentially, but I think there is the real potential for him to improve. I mean, he's only a 6-year-old still. He's obviously going back hurdling after being defeated in the Hennessy. I mean, they're trying to make him the next big bucks. Is that what they're doing? Is he that good?
Well, the way I understand it is that chasing is still on the cards again for next year. It's just more of the same, really, isn't it?
Why? Why go back hurling? I think it's quite strange.
Yeah. I think it could just be a case that they're sort of admitting, while not really admitting it truly, that they went chasing a season too early with Saphir de Reux.
Yeah.
This year, if he was a novice at 6, then I think he'd hold all before him, to be quite honest.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. Thistlecrack really just have the potential to stamp himself as the top staying hurdler here. I think. He's not dependent on soft ground whatsoever either. But if he won this tomorrow, then he really has to go as probably the one to beat in March, because it's such a wide open division at the moment. So I'll probably just say that I think Thistlecrack will probably win this, but Rev de Civola has to be the bet if you're going to have one at 9-2, because Force going for his 4th win in the race. He's going to be absolutely prime. This is his Gold Cup, isn't it? I love saying that, but it really is. So yeah, Rev de Civola, the 10-year-old.
What would the flat term of his Gold Cup be? This is
his Derby.
His Derby. This is his Queen Anne. I wouldn't back Rev de Civola tomorrow. I would agree with you, though, that he'd be the bet out of the top 3 that you could have. At 9-2, I think it's a fantastic price. You could bet your bottom dollar that Nick Williams would have him 100% straightforward. This tomorrow, as Callum did mention, will be his Gold Cup. He'll be more right for this than he will be for anything else for the rest of the season. He's won the last 3 renewals. There's no reason why he should run a bad race tomorrow. He ran a fantastic race in France last time, not beaten all that far behind 1,000 Stars and Orbison. 9-2 would be the value of that. Thistlecrack, it's hard not to be impressed with him last time out. Saphir de Reux's got a few questions to answer now. He didn't run all that badly in the Hennessy, to be quite honest, but going back hurdling once more, it's not ideal to keep, for want of a better term, messing a horse around like that, putting him over fences, then back to hurdles, then back over fences, now back down to hurdles. I think if you're going to have a bet in the race, the way I go about it is a horse that's on official ratings has got quite a bit to find with Rev de Civola, but he's not too far behind the rest. It's Tagliatelle at 20-1.
You go for that.
Wait, he was 4th in the Hatton's Grace, never nearer. Over 2.5 miles behind Arctic Fire last time out. He had a bit of a pipe opener more than anything when winning at Dundalk on the level. Jack Kennedy rode that day. Davy Ross was over to ride Tagliatelle. He's also got another ride on the card. But stepping up to 3 miles, which ideally is what he's going to end up needing. Whether he really needs that now as a 6-year-old is my only doubt. But the more that the ground dries, the more that plays into Tagliatelle's hands, and it could even be better for him if they cut each other's throats up front, because Rev de Civola is going to push a fast gallop. You'd imagine Deputy Dan wouldn't be too far away. Thistlecrack probably wouldn't want to let the main protagonist get too far away along with Saphir de Reux. So it could just be that we're picking up 3rd place prize money, but for a 20-1 each way bet, you wouldn't really be minding that. With Tagliatelle tomorrow in the long walk. Anything else to add?
No. So said enough on this race, I think.
Rev de Civola for yourself. I wouldn't back Rev de Civola, but I'd have a bet each way on Tagliatelle. A pretty decent race coming up, though, at Haydock for the 220, the Tommy Whittle handicap chase over 2 miles, 6 furlongs, and 204 yards. Won last year, Callum, by Broadway Buffalo.
Oh, what a horse.
I think you actually tipped him up in this as well.
Yeah, I did actually. I did. I think. No, mine. I can't remember. Yeah, what a horse! What a horse! I like Final Assault in this horse that has to go left-handed from one. his record right-handed isn't very good. And he does often go left-handed anyway, so it's pretty obsolete. But I thought his run last time at Newcastle behind Wakanda was a cracking effort. I was really taken by the way he travels, and he does often travel really well into his races. And to me, that suggests that a mark of 139 isn't beyond him. He went up 9 for winning impressively at Ayr before, when the yard were in absolutely banging form. And yeah, I thought that was a better race than what this is personally. That was a listed chase. This is a Class 2, and I just don't think there's the same quality of horse in this than there was in that contest. Spooky Dookie, I can take on personally. Manley, is it Al Manley?
Yeah, I think.
Was second at Newbury in the race we've already mentioned, the Vatican race. I thought everything just fell into place. He just kind of picked up the pieces late on, and I think the same happened for Suncloud when I actually tipped him the other day here behind Verlion Rouge, where he got a really typically quiet ride from Brian Hughes and looked the winner, and then Verlion Rouge found extra. Something's going to need to take this by the scruff of the neck, really, because I think there's going to be quite a few travelling well late in the contest, and maybe it goes to something that's going to front run and just take the finish out of the rest. But I just think Final Assault is a pretty well handicapped horse still. I think Derek Fox taking off free. I don't mind him as a jockey personally. So yeah, I think he's got a good solid chance tomorrow. I think the ground should be fine as well. It was fairly testing at Newcastle. It's probably going to be more testing tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's going to be an issue for him. And he's a 6-year-old that I think he's got a bit of time on his side, and I can see him ended up being a potential 140, 150 horse in time. He just looks like he's got more to offer by the way he travels into his races. So yeah, I thought he had a really good chance for him.
Yeah, I can see your point on Final Assault. We're taking you on though with Spooky Dookie. I think John Joe O'Neill's done exactly the right thing with Spooky Dookie. He's taken his time with him. He's introduced him very, very slowly into racing life. I remember, I think it was this day last year, he was third to Flintham in a novice hurdle, staying on under a Hand and Hills ride from a McCoy. He's since been a bit of a revelation, really. He's almost gone unbeaten about 5 races. He won last time at Newbury, and I'm not sure how strong the race actually was, but off a mark of 1:34, he did it very well. He's a horse that's just going to stay all day. He's never going to do anything any flashy at all. He's up to a mark of 1:42 tomorrow, so up £8 for that Newbury success. Again, I'm not sure what the form is up to be, but it could just be that Spooky Dookie, and in all likeliness probably is, that Spooky Dookie is a horse that doesn't really do a great deal, but he will just do enough. He's never going to be flashy about doing it. And a good association, we'll say, for Josh Moore to have with picking up a few rides for John Joe O'Neill. He rides in our earlier race in the colours of Jake McManus as well. He's had a few rides for them. Also after his first Grade 1 success on Armad in the Henry VIII Novices Chase. If there's anything bigger prices, there's nothing really sticking out. I thought Omonley could be one of the chief dangers. I thought he ran really well at Newbury.
Yeah, just picked the first 3 in the market.
It's not a wide open race, I don't think.
No. I've got nothing against Bailey personally, apart from he could be an improver. I think he's a horse that I think he's going to appreciate a proper trip in time. I mean, he's third to Milan's bar over.
He's the kind of horse
3 mile 2 at Kelso.
He's the kind of horse he's perfect for an Ida chase.
Yeah,
he's ideal for
that. I'd agree with that. If it's going to be a proper test over the trip tomorrow, then he's going to suit him.
If you're going to put something up at more of an each way price, 8-1 could be a fair enough shout about Wilton Milan, who ran very accreditably at Lingfield last time out. So I think Harry Skelton got a Ride of the Month award for it, but he stayed on in really determined fashion on that occasion. Lingfield is absolutely bottomless on that occasion. It's going to be, may not be as bad tomorrow at Haydock, but it was absolutely atrocious conditions at Lingfield last time out. It will be very testing tomorrow at Haydock, but Walter Milan at 8-1 could be an each way value if you want to go that way. But for myself, it's Spooky Dookie. For yourself, you're on Final Assault.
Yeah.
Taking each other on with that front. As we go down to Ascot once more for the 3 o'clock. Only 2 more races to cover on Channel 4 tomorrow. We've got the Ladbroke Hurdle coming up very shortly, but first, the 3 o'clock at Ascot is the Sodexo Silver Cup. Handicap chase over 2 miles, 7 furlongs and 180 yards, for want of a better term. We'll call it 3 miles. This was one of the continuation of the improvement of the Young Master last season. Once again, the Young Master is here with Sam Wheely-Cohen on board, taking £3 off, but his form has derailed ever so slightly.
It has, hasn't it? Yeah, it definitely has. I don't really know what that's down to. maybe as Cheltenham just taking the slight edge off him, because it was a poor run at Cheltenham, and you could probably excuse it. It wasn't a bad run behind Safir, but he was readily outpointed by him.
He was beaten like he should have been beaten.
Yeah, and then obviously he unseated very, very early in the Hennessy. So yeah, I wouldn't be taking him personally because I don't feel he's in great form. I just don't have enough confidence in him. Lots to consider. I'm sure Alan would be picking his favourite horse, Fox Appeal, if he was here. Pendra, I was really impressed with last time. It's a horse that I think Geraghty's improved a ton. Basically, just for riding him, he's just, AP McCoy was pretty good, but he just wasn't the kind of rider for Pendra. I just think he needs a bit of coaxing.
He's not a horse that wants to be bullied, is he?
No.
He's a horse that he wants to do his own thing, but he's sort of, he's athletic and fancy as a terms of.
And he's not. He hasn't been the best. He's never been the best of jumpers either. And with McCoy's style, it just didn't suit him whatsoever. Even so much that he looked such a huge non-stayer at Cheltenham at the festival, and then at Ascot he looked like he could stay even plenty further last time. The ground's going to be more testing tomorrow. I don't think it's going to be that testing. I really don't, from what I've seen today. And he's only got 7th for a really impressive win at Ascot last time. It's a similar race. This has pretty much been the plan since, by the looks of it. The form of that race has worked out fairly well. Double Ross disappointed last time, but had run a cracker in the Paddock Power previously. It's probably easy to pick holes in behind. This is probably a stronger race, but I'll be disappointed if he can't go very close off 147 still. I think he's got a favourite's chance. And I will probably back in tomorrow. I was looking at the Giant Bolster because for a long way I thought he ran pretty well in the Hennessy when just looking at the end like he needed the run. But there was one point in the race I thought, okay, he's got a chance here. And the handicap has given him a right chance. He's dropped in £7. So he could easily come out and absolutely bolt up in this. The headgear's kept off once again. He has, his previous form has been without headgear. His last win was in headgear. I think they've tried loads of different headgear, and maybe I don't know if he needs it at all. I think
he might just be a kind of horse that needs keeping fresh and new ideas.
New ideas, yeah.
New ideas, yeah.
New ideas, yeah. Fingal Bay, I'm not fully convinced by him personally.
No. Not as a chaser.
No,
definitely not.
Although saying that, I thought he ran really well in the Hennessy.
It's his best run of fences by a country mile.
Yeah.
He actually, the thing that I took from that is he actually jumped very well, which has been his downfall in the past. I mean, we know that he's probably just short of a top class hurdler, but off that mark, he could do some real damage if he does put it all together again tomorrow. Yeah.
Big ask for Salubrious from what he's done.
Big ask.
Houblon or Borblé.
He jumped atrocious. Like, he's never the best jumper, but he jumped atrociously in the Hennessy. It was absolutely dreadful.
Houblon.
Yeah. He was absolutely dreadful over fences in the Hennessy. After that, I couldn't take any trust in him until I see him actually put it all together again. Like, I'm not saying he's usually a good jumper because he does make his mistakes, but he was awful in the Hennessy.
I'm just looking at the field, and I'm looking at horses and just thinking, I don't really like that. I don't really like this. Wakanda, I think, has got to improve plenty again. He's done absolutely nothing wrong in winning the last twice, but another £6 in a better race, I think, demands even more. Unless you like him, you've gone silent. So
I've got 2 each way that I fancy in the race, and Wakanda is one of them.
I think 12 to 1's a pretty fair price, to be fair.
I think Sue Smith's taken 2 down to Ascot. She never usually comes this far south. I think Mr. Moonshine felt
when there's a race like this,
still it never really tempts her at all.
Yeah.
But I think she's bought 2 down in Dartford, Warbler, and Wakanda. I think both have got very good each way chances.
Yeah. I wouldn't. I don't know. I just think 151 might, for win purposes,
it'll be tough.
I think it'll be tough.
It will be tough.
Where Pendra 447, I'd much rather be taking. I like to see Pendra drift personally. I think 6 to 1 is still a pretty backable price, but anything bigger is a great price.
Jason Herridge is absolutely off his tits in a pub.
Watching on the other hoof, obviously.
He is. Actually, he says, my mate says hi with a kiss and a picture of his mate. Let's make his mate famous on the other hoof. That's Jason Herridge's.
Hi, mate.
Hi, mate. So, what do we reckon he looks like?
What do you mean?
What name's he got?
Oh, right.
Peter. He's Neil. Neil from the Betweeners.
Yeah, Neil.
Neil.
Epic fans.
Epic fans, mate. That is Neil from the Betweeners. That is
Hi, Neil.
Jason Heritage.
Hi, Jason.
Hi, Neil. Thank you for tuning in. I hope to see you again sometime on the other hoof. My turn. As mentioned, there's two horses that I quite fancy each way. It's just bullying now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Adam's not here. We need to refill it anyway. It's just got a huge Fox Appeal and Wakanda would be the two that I'd be interested in each way. Fox Appeal, for all that we give Adam a hard time about it being his horse, which, if you've noticed, since he started denying that it's his horse, he's running a lot better. Like, he shaped okay at Cheltenham. He also shaped really well at Ascot last time.
Yeah.
He stayed on quite nicely on that occasion behind Pendra and Double Ross. He's hooded for the first time tomorrow. We'll see if that has any sort of impact on him. But off a mark of 152, again, he may be coming up a little bit short for win purposes of that mark, but he's been running so well the last twice and shaping well on both occasions. I have a feeling that 12-1 could be a really decent each way price bet, and the same goes for Wakanda, who last time out beat Virac, who reopposes here with Harry Cobden on board. All Wakanda does is stay and stay and stay. Faster ground would be absolutely perfect for him. If he get out in front and find a rhythm, then again, he's only 6. There could still be a great deal of potential that's yet to be untapped with Wakanda, especially with the yard in good form. Again, Danny Cook's taking the ride. 151, we'll find a lot more out about Wakanda tomorrow. 151 could still be fairly lenient for what he could achieve in the future, but I think 12-1 about both of them. You could do worse bets than having a couple of quid each way on Fox Appeal and on Wakanda, saying that this could just be Pendra's race to lose. He could be a real handicap horse to follow throughout the season, and he could end up winning something at the Cheltenham Festival a little bit later on, especially now that he's only got a mark of 147 for tomorrow.
Gold Cup, maybe.
Yeah, that handicap. We're off to Ascot for the final time now. The final race on their card as well is the Ladbroke Hurdle, the 3:35 over a mile, 7 furlongs and 152 yards. For all intensive purposes, we'll call it 2 miles. 21 go to post in the Ladbroke tomorrow. It's wide open, maybe not a vintage Ladbroke Hurdle, but
this is a cracking race.
It's more that there's a lot of horses that have a lot of untapped potential.
I think it's a belting race. Yeah, I don't even know where to start. Winner Massico. Yeah, look, I'm going for the favourite. I was so impressed last time. He drifted like a barge. Absolutely bolted up, and he's gone up £12, which is, I think, it's fair. It's a much tougher race, but I think he could be still a massive handicap lot off that mark, and I'd have certainly be taking him over Jolly's Character, who I actually put up at the start of the year as a horse to follow. But he just isn't quite all there, is he? I think we both have an opinion that
I've described
he
him
isn't a very clever horse.
It could be very harsh, and I apologise to anyone connected with the horse if they do happen to watch, but I just get the feeling Jolly's Character is a little bit simple. I mean, he's only 6, but he can't work out why he's making a mistake. He'll go to a hurdle, he'll jump it okay, but he'll make a mistake, and then he'll make another one exactly the same at the next, and he'll lose the length through it. And you can't be doing that in big handicap hurdles like this.
He just does so much wrong. He's keen in his races.
Until he works that out, and until he really does get into a rhythm, then we're not going to see Jolly's Character at his best. And at his best, I think the same as you, he could be a very, very good horse. He's clearly got a lot of ability, but he's just not putting it all together at the moment.
I was a little underwhelmed seeing another horse of Zarev in the elite hurdle. I think in hindsight, it probably wasn't the worst of runs, because I mean, Irving has done pretty well since, for all it disappointed last time. But I was a little bit underwhelmed by that, and I think the fact that Skelton's obviously won this race before, I think kind of is put into the price. I think there's others to prefer. Some Plan, I know, is one we both thought had a good chance. Travelled really well in a good race at Sandown 2 weeks ago behind Little Rockefeller. Went off quite a strong favourite that day.
It's very strongly backed.
He's dropped £2, and I think he just needed it. I think quite a few of these Brookhouse horses that have just joined Nichols have been better for their second runs. So I think he's one to put into the mix. Sort it out, and Waxy's Dargle. I think
Waxy's Dargle was a good third in the Greatwood last time out.
Yeah,
I mean that's very solid form now with Old Guard going on and winning the International after that. Whether how strong the International actually was, that remains to be seen. But for the moment, Waxy's Dargle was a good third in the Greatwood.
Yeah. Sort It Out is obviously the second choice of the McManus horses, but cannot be ruled out. There's so many to consider. Now you're probably going to mention Vincenzo Mia. I'm going to mention Unanimité as well, who I think is a horse just perfect for this big field handicap. He's a horse that does travel well in his races. He probably makes the odd one or two niggly mistakes, and I don't really know if the ground's going to be perfect for him tomorrow. I think probably wants it faster.
Yeah.
Being like Kentucky Dynamite horses always seem to need slightly better ground.
I think one horse that we have to mention, and I really want to mention, is Raven Black. He's such a wonderful, wonderful horse.
He is awesome.
He never runs a bad race. I
got
thank you.
£6 for that second behind Winner Massive.
The handicapper hates him.
That's really
the handicapper.
harsh.
Well, Raven Black ran such a huge race that day. He's the only one that could go with Winner Massigo. They were miles clear of the rest, and the handicappers killed him for it again. I owe a personal thank you to him for getting me through the place spot in the Imperial Cup last year. But
there's always money involved when you love these horses.
I loved him before that. He's awesome. He's
a great horse.
He's so gutsy, tenacious. Ground, it doesn't matter what ground it is, what trip it is. He'll run his heart out every single time. He must be a joy to own and a joy to have for Oliver Sherwood. And Tom Garner gets on so well with him also.
It's a positive view of that form though. Winner Massigo's gone up 12, Raven Black's gone up 6, Leviathan's gone up 2 for being beaten 9 lengths.
And Three Kingdoms gets away with
Three Kingdoms is off the same way, beaten 12.5. So yeah. I mean, I think Winner Massigo is the best handicap horse in this field, but he is priced accordingly.
Yeah, I mean, there's no leeway in that price, is there?
No, and he is, 4-year. What's the record of 4-year-olds in this race? I mean, Cause of Causes won in 2012, but he was a proper battle-hardened 4-year-old, wasn't he? Whereas Winner Massigo might not be. I don't know. So many to consider in this. It's an absolute belter race. I thought Some Plan was really interesting at a price. I think they're the two for me, Winner Massigo and Some Plan, that really do stick out as being pretty well handicapped horses.
Yeah, it's at the head of the market. There's a few that I'd be willing to take on. Jolly's Cracked It would be one of them for all that I'd like to see him win a race like this.
For win purposes, definitely.
Zareb is a horse that I was all over in the Elite Hurdle. I couldn't see him losing that at all, and I was really disappointed he couldn't get the better of Irving and Melodic Rendezvous. I'd give him another chance at about 10 to 1 for Zareb, but again, he really does have something to prove now after a pretty lackluster display in the Elite Hurdle last time out. Stern Rubin, another one you have to give a chance to after winning the Jerry Fielden last time out. He took apart a very good handicap hurdle on that occasion. 12 to 1 for Hobson Johnson representative on a big Saturday handicap. You have to give respect to Stern Rubin. He seems to be a horse that's improving and improving and improving. Some Plan, I completely agree with you. He's a horse that at a big price, I think about 50 to 1, I backed each way in the Supreme Novices last year. So there's a horse that I clearly rate, but again, last time out, he came there travelling very strongly when the Nichols horses weren't quite right. Plus, he was coming off the back of an absence, so he probably would have needed to run. And as mentioned by Callum, the Roger Brookhouse horses, since switching over to Paul Nichols, they are just needing a run. Before really showing their best. Some Plan at 16 to 1 tomorrow. That could be probably the each way bet of the race, if I'm being perfectly honest. Sam Twist and Davis taking the ride. There's no real negatives that you could say about Some Plan, especially off the mark of 140. I've already backed Vincenzo Mio. Harry Copland taking £7 off. He's got no weight to carry whatsoever. He's off a mark of 131. Takes £7 off. He's carrying 10 stone, which is the least in the field by a country mile. He was, I want to say unlucky, but I don't think he'd have won last time against Little Rockefeller and Devilman. He was carried very wide at the second last hurdle, and that was when he was really coming with his challenge. He lost quite a bit of momentum on that occasion, and he just came up a little bit short at the end. He wasn't beaten all that far by Devilman and also Little Rockefeller. That brings us on quite nicely to Devilman as well. His horse that I put up as one to follow at the start of the season. I just get the feeling now for mark of 150, they may start plotting him for something a little bit later on in the season, i.e. maybe something at Aintree when they're going to get better ground. Because, to be quite honest, at this time of year, you're not going to get good ground, which is something that he really does need to be seen at his best.
Riding as well. It's not positive.
It's weird the fact that they've got Mikey Ennis on Three Kingdoms and they've got Alex Ferguson on Devilman. I know Devilman is top weight, he's 11-12, and you get an extra £2, but it's weird that they've put Alex Ferguson on Devilman instead of Mikey Ennis, who does ride Three Kingdoms. He'd take 5 instead of 7, and no, saying nothing bad against Alex Ferguson, but Mikey Ennis is a jockey that's a £5 claimer, but about as experienced £5 claimer as you're going to get, especially in this sort of sphere. For the two, did you put 2 up?
Yeah, I put some plan up. I mean, the Steven horses I've not even mentioned that. Looking again, might have chances. Maybe even Bidori, who thought ran okay at the Paddy Power meeting for a long way.
Yeah.
You know, is going to be one of the only front runners in the race. If Scudamore gets the fractions right, he's a horse also that really goes well on soft ground. If he's going to be properly testing, then so many to consider.
Right. 2 horses then.
Winner Massigo, I think, is the best handicap horse in the field, and Some Plan, I think, is probably the best bet in the race.
Yeah, I'll take 2 Nichols horses, just straight to the point. Some Plan each way, and Vincenzo Mio each way for myself, both at 16 to 1. I believe that is the final Channel 4 race that we have to cover tonight. Jason Herridge is so drunk. He's just tweeting a lot. Right. Okay.
That's a good point.
Right. Still time to send your questions in for the show tonight. If you've got any fancies or selections, questions, anything you want to send in to On the Other Hoof, do tweet us at On the Other Hoof. Is our Twitter tag. We'll answer all your questions and more. Now, a few questions that we had to catch up in from last week, actually, that we didn't get round to. It was Phil Dinsdale asked for our thoughts on Min, who, in fairness to Min, he came with a very lofty reputation, but he didn't tarnish it at all. He was very impressive.
I actually watched it. I can't even remember if I've actually watched it. Oh yeah, no, my ATR app wasn't working.
Oh, are you in Hong Kong for this?
Yeah, I was.
Okay,
yeah.
we'll let you off. Ever so slightly.
I'll watch now, but I've heard it's beat Plodders, and then other people say it's a machine.
I mean,
so...
he's not beat a great deal, but what he's beaten very impressively.
Yeah.
You could say this. The same people that are saying that are the same people that were saying for Vettel when he made his hurdling debut, he's beat nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, you can only beat what's put in front of you. It's that annoying old adage, but we're not going to know more about Min until we see him again. He's beaten some probably below average horses very comfortably indeed. He's jumped well on the whole. In the end, you can't crab him for anything he's done. If you are, then you're just looking to crab him in a way that isn't really deserved. As Callum takes in that, we will take in Kai Wills says Safir Darur to get the money back after his Hennessy flop. I wouldn't be backing him tomorrow. I think he's got a few too many questions to answer.
It's always a fan I've been a real big horse. I've been a real big fan of, and
yeah, no, I
don't really know now. I just think it's so strange they're going back hurdling.
Back hurdling again.
Okay, that was really impressive.
Yeah, this is Callum's reaction to Min. The first time he's ever seen Min.
Go on.
Callum,
yeah, okay, that's quite good.
Callum has fallen in love with Min.
It's quite good.
Yeah, I like him.
I'm not taking those silly prices, but it's quite good.
No, but you can't slate him for that. He's absolutely bolted up.
He's no Duvan.
He's no Duvan.
that was very impressive.
No, I'm not backing Safir Darur tomorrow. You're not either. And then Kai goes on to say, what race do you think Barters Hill goes for at the festival? Really like him, and would you back him now? Yes, because I'd back him now if you fancy him, because to put it plain and simply, I think Hattie Fuller. I think
Rose Hill Peg, the Aussie expert.
You're better than that, Hattie. To be quite frank, I think Barters Hill will win the Challow Hurdle. I think that's the ideal race for him. But the only race he can go for at Cheltenham is the Albert Bartlett. He's tailor-made for that.
Yeah.
If he runs in the Neptune, he's going to get outpaced by something, probably Bells Hill, something like that. But
it's a horse we say is going to get outpaced by things, but this is a horse that's not been outpaced in 2 mile bumpers.
Yeah. I mean,
maybe he's just very good. I don't know.
He could just be an absolute monster of a horse, but I still would side.
I can't sign up to him. I just get the feeling he's going to have one too many hard races at one point.
But it could be the sort of horse that gets beat by one, he gets passed by one, and he gets his heart broken and just loses interest. I really hope that isn't the case, because he's a very nice horse.
I agree with that. Yeah.
But until he gets beaten, we don't know what he really is, because he's not a horse that does a great deal in front. Saying that, he will always pull out extra. He's a very, very tough horse to pass when he does get to the front. Kai then goes on to say a horse we just mentioned, saying, I'm sweet on Bells Hill for the Neptune. Your thoughts? I was much more impressed with him the other day than I was on his hurdling debut. A lot of people were saying he jumped well on his hurdling debut. I thought he was very novice-y at times. He got in tight to quite a few. He jumped well, though, last weekend. I think, again, he's answered every question that you really want him to. And now it's time for him to really dip his toe in the big water and really stamp his authority on a Neptune or something bigger for the future regarding Bells Hill. But I'd be disappointed if he wasn't thereabouts in the Neptune and what we've seen so far. And also, again, Callum is just watching Bell.
I didn't even know I'd run
for the first time.
It's a little horse to follow winner there. That horse is, yeah, all my horse to follow. Another Grade 2 winner there.
While we do this, we have Kai's unrelated question of the week, and it is recycled from last week. It says, "What's your favourite ice cream / lolly? I love Funny Feet. Unfortunately, now they only sell them abroad. #bollocks." Favourite ice lolly?
Not a massive ice lolly connoisseur. Twister.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Twister is
a huge fan of a Twister.
Pretty awesome.
You get everything. I mean, you get some fruity stuff. You get the ice cream. It's just Twister is an unbelievable ice cream.
Dairy milk chocolate ices.
The mini milk things.
Yeah, they're literally like chocolate Cadbury's dairy milk. Very nice.
I'll tell you actually.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
The only thing that's better than a Twister is a Maxi Bon. You only get them abroad, but they're sort of half ice cream sandwich, and then the other half's covered in sort of chocolate, and they are the shit. They are to die for. I
swear.
You say it a lot, so I'm stealing your term. But Maxi Bons are great, but Twisters in this country are by far the best. Thank you, as ever, Kai, for your questions. Tony Amato has asked if Adam's going to Haydock tomorrow. No, he's not.
He's not.
If so, lads, put the 12:55 as one of your races, please. That is that the mares listed Novice Hurdle with
12:55 or 12:25, isn't it?
The 12:55 is. Apologies.
There's Novice's Hurdle.
Yes, Briary Queen. And Briary Queen, we should mention as well, is already a winner for Noel Williams, who gave us 3 horses to follow at the start of the season. Unfortunately, I believe Hot Whiskey and Ice is out for the season. One of his 3 that he gave us, Krakatoa King, was beaten subsequently on his chase debut. But Briary Queen put in a very, very nice hurdles debut. Goes for a listed event tomorrow. So we wish Noel Williams the best of luck with Briary Queen. I have to say I was very impressed with her at Doncaster first time out of the hurdles, and she always was a horse that was probably going to be a bit better over timber than she was in bumpers, where she has some pretty decent form. So best of luck to Noel Williams with Briary Queen for tomorrow. Alex Bellew and then says, "Hi guys, is Zareb well handicapped for tomorrow's race, or am I just going to follow him off a cliff?" Now, Alex, me and you are going down the same path with this one. I'm restraining myself tomorrow. I wouldn't put you off backing him, but I'm restraining myself tomorrow until I see something a bit better from him. I know it wasn't a bad run on the elite hurdle, and that form has been franked, but I don't think he should. I don't think he needed it all that much. Dan Skelton was fairly upbeat on him before the race. They went off favourite. Everything was right for him. I'm just going to wait with Zareb until I see something a little bit more positive from him. And it may be harsh of me to say, but for tomorrow, I'd be definitely leaving him, especially in a tough race. And what tougher than the elite hurdle? Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd completely go with that. It's much more wide open anyway with that. But good luck, Alex, if you are siding with Zareb. I hope I'm looking red-faced at the end of that. KJ the second, as a tweet is saying. What do you make of Colter Vic appearing over 2 miles tomorrow to start chasing?
Didn't even know.
It's a novice chase. I mean, it is what you're going to get. But you know, he did nothing but improve last year. He won the Martin Pipe. He won a Grade 1 at Punchestown. After that, he's done everything you wanted him to, and more really. He's a Cheltenham Festival winner. He jumped hurdles very well. There's no reason to suggest otherwise why he wouldn't jump a fence. But I wouldn't say 2 miles would put you off Phil Vic if you wanted to go in at 4 to 11 tomorrow. But for the future, I'd imagine that his future does lie over
related to chasers and point winners. So.
Well, I imagine his future would lie over further, probably, whether it be 3 miles or not, I'm not 100% sure, but 2.5, a stiff 2.5 would suit him down to the ground, I would imagine. And Kija then goes on to say, does anything catch your eye in a 3-year-old juvenile hurdle at Fairyhouse tomorrow? It's something we spoke about a bit off air, actually.
Yeah, it just so happens.
It's a weird race in the fact that East India was a one-time Derby favourite, or very prominent in the Derby betting. I've also got the likes of the Outspoken.
Juvenile hurdle? It's the same race? It must be the same race.
It's a juvenile hurdle, yeah. It's just got a whole array of horses. It's got All Black. You missed it. You got past it.
Yeah, no. That's looking at the races.
It's got the.
Just can't call a juvenile hurdle when it's like a 3-year-old.
It's got All Black de Place, who's running in Hurricane Fly's colours. It's an odd race. I mean,
it's strange.
If you're looking to have a bet in that, KJ, then I'd like to know why. To be honest, because there's much better races to have a bet in on a Saturday.
My Ebor fancy for next year's in it. So.
Still with Aidan O'Brien, so you can take some solace from that.
Yeah. No, it wasn't actually my Ebor fancy, but
all right.
I thought it was good. It had more to come on the flat, personally. It was quite keen over 1 mile 6, which I'll be a little bit worried about tomorrow with Jodie McGarvey on board. Yeah, I was a bit surprised when it came up on my trackers that it was running over hurdles and it was 4-1. And I thought, well, there must be some sort of machine in there. And by the looks of it, this is a machine. It's next Mullins machine that's coming out. So I don't know.
In the colours of the Great Hurricane Fly, of course.
All black Places.
Des Places.
Yep.
That's French with Callum Adele.
And that will be 4-1 for the Triumph hurdle at 12:40.
12:40. Now they go off late in Ireland, it'll be 12:45.
Yeah, true.
Tony Amato then goes on to mention Briary Queen. 4-1 is fair. I agree with you on that. 4-1 is very fair indeed. Her form is probably the best, or some of the best on offer in the race, if not the best, especially taking into account her bumper form as well. Phil Malcolm then says he hasn't won a handicap off this mark, and this is much tougher. It travels well, but a turn of foot. I'm not sure who he's talking about. Then Zareb is what he's talking about. Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there. He lacks a turn of foot. He travelled too well in the Fred Winter, to be quite honest. He hit the front too soon. He did stay on a little bit after making a mistake at the last, but I think he travelled too strongly. Inexperience caught him out in the Fred Winter last year. Zareb has gone for price. Price-wise gone for
Zareb's gone for price-wise.
Yeah, Zareb's gone for price.
And likewise.
And he's returned the favour.
It's a strange selection tomorrow. I'm sure this is the kind of thing where I actually look at the price-wise selection and think, what is he going that for? And then Spirit of Shankly bolts up, followed by Vercingetorix.
I can't think of
Good to see him after his Jebel Hatter injury. Thought he was going to roll him out of his career, so it's good to see him back.
Yeah, he had a very mixed season last year, didn't he? Mixing hurdles and
yeah, I think it's just stick to the flat because he seems a much better horse on the flat.
To be honest, if they had jumps racing in Maidan, he'd be well playing, wouldn't he? He loves it in Maidan.
Yeah. It's like Banaday winning at Jebel Ali.
Dance. Tony Deacon, is what we said earlier. I hope Callum Adele enjoyed Hong Kong. Were there any pictures taken where he didn't have his arm around them?
You've already gone through that one.
Yeah, I know. I'd like to read out again.
Okay.
It's getting you some airtime with the females.
It's such a good trick.
Making Hattie Fuller jealous. Hattie Fuller was one of those females, actually, very frequently in those pictures. Very frequently, indeed. Kai Wills said, "Come to think of it, I'd love oh God, I'd love it if Thistle Crack won because I like the word crack."
And I like the word thistle.
Maybe you two could get together sometime.
Yeah, no.
Form a Thistle Crack.
Word crack.
Kai, you're more mature than that. Well, probably not actually. Better than that. And then he goes on to say, it's not quite the end of the year yet. This isn't end of year tweet. He says, a big thank you to the boys for a show every Friday night throughout the year. Much appreciated. We appreciate you watching as well, Kai. Thank you very much for sending in tweets every week. It makes the show worthwhile actually doing. Because if we weren't getting any tweets, then it would be dull to do, if I'm being quite honest.
Or viewers. It would help if we had viewers.
Yeah, that helps as well. But we really do appreciate everyone that does actually send a tweet in and does watch the show. So thank you for that. And thank you, Kai, for your ongoing support. Jason Herridge is in next. I'm not really sure who APS is in this, but he says, why is Gardner Victoire the same price as APS for the Arkle? Tell me why, I can't take it anymore. Is APS au petit soin?
Yes. What's he talking about?
Gardner Victoire, why is it the same price as au petit soin, I assume, for the Arkle, which I didn't realise they were the same price, if I'm being honest. Let's get the Arkle markets up now.
APS, it must be au petit soin.
Au petit soin 16s and Gardner Victoire 16s. Yeah, he's correct. He's not wrong. He may be drunk, but he's not wrong on that. I don't know. Is the one thing I can say.
Au petit soin is just a very bad price rather than Gardner Victoire's a great price.
Take into account that au petit soin is only quoted by 4 bookmakers, 5 bookmakers.
Yeah. Tebob.
I'm telling you, 20 to 1 about Tebob. If he goes, some price. It'll be some site around Cheltenham. But no, as much as I don't think Gardner Victoire wins the Arkle, I don't think he should be that price, especially if au petit soin is at 16 to 1.
Oh man, 20 to 1.
Because he may not go.
He won't run.
He may not go.
No, he won't run.
Josh Moore has said that he might go.
Oh really?
Gary came out and said straight away he doesn't want to go left-handed, and Josh says I think he might want to go left-handed. He might go left-handed.
Oh,
right.
I didn't know that.
It was literally straight after, but they're not 100% sure. Next stop for Armad will be Kempton on either Boxing Day or 27th, whenever the 2 mile novice chase is. there at Kempton. So we look forward to seeing Armad once more. Scott Vidler, a new name. I don't recognise that name. Welcome to On the Other Hoof, Scott Vidler. Thank you for tuning in. Sergeant Reckless is a massive price tomorrow. A decent hurdle form and switch back to hurdles that he cannot jump fences. His value in that regard.
Shrewdly campaigned horse.
Shrewdly campaigned. Weirdly campaigned horse. Don't really have a strong view on Sergeant Reckless tomorrow.
No, I just dislike him for the fact he's just one of the worst campaign horses I can ever think of.
You should like him. He's been on the flat. He ran at Yarmouth.
No.
It's a very hard horse to form an opinion on, but best of luck for Sergeant Reckless tomorrow. Scott and Phil Insdale says, why the big difference in the betting between Jolly's Cracked It and Unanimité when Unanimité finished ahead of him last time out?
That's a good point.
It's a very good point, and it's worth taking into account. The point I'll make to you, Phil, is the point I made to Callum a bit earlier on off air, that Unanimité is a horse that every single time will find a different way to lose a race. Whether he will be an eye catcher every single time, whether he makes a couple of mistakes, whether he gets caught in traffic, whether he does everything, something in each race to just be an eye catcher and nothing more. And that's the reason why it's not going to head in front. It could be a change of attack tomorrow, but until he actually does it, then Unanimité will remain a frustrating horse myself and wouldn't be carrying my money on that front. And the final tweet in for this week is from Andrew Humphrey. Saying, let's all back Kilolta before the RSA tomorrow before he wins at Fairyhouse tomorrow. Agreed. Not for me.
No.
Not for me in that regard. But best of luck, Andrew, if you are going in on Kilolta Vic. One last check. Other new guy, Sophie Cakes. I notice you always wear a tie. Do you have any other colours? I also enjoy a beautiful tie. I've been working today, and I work not most Fridays, but sometimes.
That's your only tie. There's that one that looks like different colours depending on what TV you're on.
I actually do think I wore this 2 weeks ago as well. So I can't blame you for thinking this is the only tie I have. It's just coincidence. And one final tweet in from Stu Williams saying, on Zara at 20 to 1 and Vincenzo Mio at 25 to 1. Very competitive race. Could be quite testing by Ladbroke time. Is it rain tomorrow? Fair play on those prices. Full credit on that front, Stu. Let's look at the weather forecast for Ascot tomorrow.
Right, I think it often is a race because it is near, it's the last race again, isn't it?
Yeah, there's no rain. There's no rain at all. If anything, it's going to keep dry.
Isn't it? There's a bit of rain in the
none of the forecast I'm looking at.
And
I'm going to take my forecast. I'm going to take my forecast because it benefits me better.
It's going to rain tonight, apparently.
That is the final tweet that we've got in, unless someone sent one in the last few seconds. They have not. Thank you, everyone, for your participation tonight. Tweets in, fancies, and everything. Good luck if you do have any fancies tomorrow. Good luck if you're having a bet tomorrow as well. It is nap time. Adam Webb has already got his nap in. He's going for Le Vatican in the something in Ascot. I've forgotten what time race it is now at Ascot. I'm struggling for a nap tomorrow. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, same.
Have you sorted out?
Well, I like to go for a horse in a race that we don't cover on the show. But I've had recent criticism for going for all weather horses during the jumps. So I'm going to.
I'll happy to.
Hate has gone hate, and I'll go for Man of Harlech in the listed race tomorrow.
Stealing my horses.
Yeah, I've been really taken by him recently. I think the all weather helps his dog tendencies, and there isn't that much pace on tomorrow, so it could be a bit of an issue about him settling. But
Lamar will go forward.
Yeah, Lamar go forward, so battalion potentially. So yeah, I think there could be a bit of pace. Don't be maybe.
That's the other one I was thinking. Don't be.
No, let's hold up.
I think he can.
But I think I'll be against the favourite Grandazar, who did win this race last year in a similar manner.
He was in much better form last year, though.
Yeah,
I mean, he didn't run badly last time, and that was his first real step forward in a while.
But look, we're upsetting the viewers here with talking about the all-weather. But I'm going for Man of Harlech as my now.
I'd happily talk about the opener at Lingfield tomorrow because the all-weather.
It's good card tomorrow.
It's not a bad card at Lingfield, I have to say, on that front. I'm going to nap each way. I'm going to nap in the Ladbroke because I've just got no other real fancies tomorrow, and I'm going to nap Vincenzo Mio.
Did you nap that last time? Or?
No, we banned ourselves from napping it because obviously it's one of Nick Schofield's horses to follow that he put up at the start of the season. God,
I don't know.
Nick Sofield put 3 horses up at the start of the season, and Vincenzo Mio was one of those. We also got another one that Noel Williams put up at the start of the season that we spoke about a little bit earlier at Haydock with Briary Queen. But Vincenzo Mio each way with Harry Cobden on board will be my nap for tomorrow, about 16 to 1 currently. That is naps sorted. Vincenzo Mio for myself, Man of Harlech for Callum Medell, and for Adam Webb, Le Vatican at Ascot. Callum, I know you're not feeling too well.
No.
But thank you for joining us
No
this
worries.
week.
No worries. Breeze through the show.
Yeah, breeze through the show. Breeze through the show indeed. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you for everyone to get in touch as well. Until next week, when we are back, it'll be our Christmas special next week, won't it?
Yeah.
There'll be Santa hats galore next
God.
week. If that's not an incentive to tune in next week, I don't know what is. We'll see you then. Until then, have a fantastic week and get ready for our Christmas special.